Yo, what up? It's the King, baby, and today I'm ranking the Harry Potter book tiers, right? We're going to put them all in the tiers. We're going to see what comes out, alright? I haven't read these books in 5 years, so you're going to have to bear with me here. I'm a big fan. I've read them 2 to 3 times, all of them. But, you know, there's going to be some things I can't remember. I wish I could remember it all. But yeah, bear with me. I have a cold as well, so it's not doing too good, but that's okay. We're going to do this. So let's just start off with this fanfic bullcrap, okay? F. Honestly, if there was a lower tier, I'd put it there. Seriously. This is the worst thing I've ever read. It's not Harry Potter at all, right? It doesn't help that it was written by 2 other guys. It's a screenplay as well, so it doesn't help either. J.K. Rowling helped, but I don't think she had too much. I don't really know. She might have had a lot more than I think to take part in this. But from what I understand, it was mainly these 2 other guys who took the Harry Potter story and kind of said, hey, let's go forward with this. And, you know, the worst part, when I knew that this book was going to be bad, is when they did a huge time skip. And they just kept doing time skips all the way up till their 5th or 6th year, like Harry's son and Draco's son. And I'm like, okay, cool, that's great. Just time skip. And then they do this whole crazy thing where they go back in time with Diggory or whatever, Delphine or Delphi, I don't remember. I think it's Delphi. You know, turns out it's actually Voldemort's daughter. You know, they're trying to go back in time and make it to where Voldemort actually wins, all that kind of shit. It's silly, it's stupid. The freaking trolley lady on the train is actually a monster, and she's actually the keeper. You know, she's the gatekeeper, so people can't get off the train. So she's on top of the train with the kids when they're trying to leave, and she turns into this like freaking creature, and it's like, who thought of this? Seriously, it's stupid. And then there's some things I like Hermione was the Minister of Magic. That's pretty cool. I think she would make a great minister. Obviously, Harry's an Auror. That makes the most sense. Yeah, this book just... yeah, and that's the other thing. And then Harry goes back in time to help them out, and he's Voldemort himself. Or something like that. Yeah, it's... I hate it. Don't read it. I should burn it, honestly. It's terrible. Anyway, let's get to the good stuff. Alright. So let's start in order. I just wanted to get the crappiest one out of the way, because to me all of these are at least C or above. Actually B or above. They're great. So Sorcerer's Stone. I'm going to put this B tier. The reason why is because obviously it's the shortest book of them all. It's got 17 chapters. If I remember correctly, I think it's 17. It's pretty short. It's a nice little story. It's a nice, how you say, good introduction into the universe, into the world we're going to be reading about. Harry's a great character. Hermione, Ron, you know, when they meet, it's awesome. I love Hagrid, his introduction. And, you know, I really wish that the movies did what they did in the first chapter of this book, which is where they, you know, start off narrating like Vernon Dursley's day, right? And he's just going to work about his business, and just weird things keep happening throughout the day. You know, he sees people in weird clothing. They say weird phrases to him, you know, because he doesn't really know what's going on. They don't know that Voldemort has just been defeated. You know, he hears Harry Potter, like, oh, hey, that's my nephew. What's going on with that? That's got to be somebody else, blah, blah, blah. There's comets coming down, like, at night. All that stuff. It's crazy. And, of course, you know, it's just a really good first chapter, like, because we're kind of like him, basically. Like, we don't know what's going on, you know? Anyway, that's good. I like that. I like how they go in way more detail with Harry. I like how he grows out his hair very fast when he had a bad haircut. Or there was something else. can't think of it on the top of my head. But anyway, like there's way more magic that Harry does unknowingly. But let's go fast forward into the book. I'm trying to think like what else I'd like. I like how much more detail they go into. Like, obviously, at the end of the book, when they're trying to get to the Sorcerer's Stone, they go into way more detail, talk a lot more. They go into detail way more about the Mirror of Erised. It's very interesting. Overall, it's a good book. It's not bad. It's not terrible. But it's very short and very basic and kind of just gets you into the universe, you know? That's why it's only B tier. Now, for Chamber of Secrets, I'm going to put this, like I said, in the movie tier list. The Chamber of Secrets, to me, is underrated. It's like a chapter or two longer than Sorcerer's Stone. Honestly, part of me wants to put it up here, but it ain't that good. I'd say A tier. And the reason why is because it's just a really good story on its own, you know, where the whole school is probably going to get closed down and everything is up to Harry to basically save it. You know, he has to go fight the basilisk and all that stuff. And I don't know, I just like that concept where it's all going down, and if he doesn't do this, if he doesn't pull this off, if he doesn't do what he needs to do, it's over, right? They lose. So I like that. It's just a good story. I like how they go into more detail about the Sword of Gryffindor at the end, of how he pulled it out. Only a true Gryffindor can pull it out. Same thing with the book. They talk a lot. I'm pretty sure they talk about that a little bit more, of like what it is, all that stuff, the diary. They also, when they go back, like when Harry gets pulled into the diary to go, you know, see what Tom Riddle wants to show him, and they go into more detail there. Gilroy Lockhart is surprisingly even more funny in the book because he's just even crazier. He says even more outlandish things. He's a funny one. Yeah, it's good though. It's good. Surprisingly not talking about this one as much. Oh, and Dobby. Oh, don't get me started. I love Dobby. He's one of my favorite characters. He's a great little elf that would do anything for Harry. It's sad when he dies in the future books, but that's okay. Had to be done, I guess. Either way, it's a really good book. It introduces Dobby. And of course, one of the Horcruxes gets destroyed with the sword. Introduces the sword too. So it's very, very nice. Anyway, Prisoner of Azkaban. I'm going to put this at A tier. The movie is definitely S tier, obviously, but the book, not as much. The one thing I will give the book over the movie every single day of the entire life that I live is that it goes into so much more detail about the Marauders, right? Harry, Sirius, Remus, and Peter, right? They go into way more detail of how their friendship was forged and how they all got like licenses, or actually no, I don't think they got a license to be anime guy. I think they did it like so people didn't know about it. They just wanted to do it, you know, to be there with you know, with Remus when he was suffering as a werewolf whenever he would transform, which I thought was awesome. They talk a lot more about how they developed the map, how that even works, so that was cool. I liked that a lot. Buckbeak, I really liked that freaking hippogriff Buckbeak, man. Seriously, it's great. And they go into more detail of like the time turner and how that works. And they go into like the divination, right? They talk about that a little bit more in here, how it actually works, unlike the movie where it's just like, you have the Grim, watch the Grim, an omen of death. That's it, you know what I mean? Like, you don't really get to see what that's about. Plus, they go through a trap door to get into that classroom, Whereas in the movies, they just go up some stairs and they're there. You know, like, no. In the book, they go through a freaking trap door to get to the class. It's just different. It's neat. But yeah, mainly the whole Marauders thing. It's very nice that they explained it. Sorry. And as much as, like, this book, when they do explain the Marauders, like, I love that they do that, but it's also somewhat boring. Like, it feels like it goes on maybe too much, but it's better than not going on at all, which the movie did not do at all. As much as the movie is a fantastic movie, it did leave out probably the most important part of the damn book, which is the Marauders. That was the whole point of the book, was to figure out who Sirius Black is, why he's actually not a bad guy. It's a filler book. Let's put it that way. It's a filler book / movie. It didn't have much to do with Voldemort at all, other than Peter Pettigrew. But he's not really even that big a deal. I mean, yeah, the next one, he's the one who brings Voldemort back, obviously, but he's not. Either way, it's like a filler book, but it's not bad. It's not bad. That's why I put it A tier. The whole Marauder thing is great. And Lupin, obviously, he's a fan favorite. Yeah, he's one of my favorite characters. Definitely my favorite Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Very much so. Yeah, it's great. Alright, here we go. Goblet Fire, next. S tier. It's my favorite book out of all of them. Not my favorite movie, because they leave out so much crap, and they also, you know... Did you put your name in that Goblet of Fire? You know, he said calmly. Yeah, come on. What are you doing? It's such a good book. Just the whole concept of the Triwizard Tournament, to me, is sick. Like, it's just dope, you know? And I know in the book, they go into way more, like, depth of the Durmstrangs and the Bobatons, where they come from. When they arrive, they don't just surprise, oh, here we are, like in the movie, like, we're coming down the hall now. And there's a lot more of them than just, like, what you see in the movie. There's, like, way more. Students, I mean. It's very nice. And I'm sorry, there was a noise in the background. It threw me off. Anyway, like when they arrive, like at the castle, they make a huge deal about it. They all the Hogwarts students go onto the grounds, and they kind of like go out to meet them. You know, obviously they come out of that ship, the Durmstrangs do. I'm pretty sure it's like that in the book, if I remember. And the Bobatons, they come out from... Yeah, the carriage. That's true. Yep. That happened too. And they all just kind of roll out. And they make a big deal about it, you know? Unlike the movie, where they just show Hagrid doing this to let the Bobatons in, and then the Durmstrangs kind of just do their own thing, you know? Where the students are just kind of inside, chilling, doing their class. Cedric Diggory, obviously my dog is named after Cedric. He's a great character, and he's talked about a lot more in the books. Like, he's in the third book. Matter of fact, like Cedric, like in the third book, when Harry, you know, faints because the Dementors come to attack the Quidditch match, Cedric caught the snitch, but he didn't know that Harry had fainted, and he wanted a rematch. Like, he didn't want that. Like, he's a good dude, you know, he's got integrity, he's loyal. That's what Hufflepuff is, right? He's good. He's a good dude. And he's a great character in here. The whole attack on the Quidditch World Cup was great too. Going a lot more detail there. Freaking, what's his name? Barty Crouch has a house elf. I'm sorry, not house elf. Well, yeah, he has an elf, and her name is Winky, and she's not talked about at all in the movies whatsoever, which I thought was strange, because she's kind of... I mean, she's not that important, let's be real, but there are points in the book where, you know, she comes up more than once. So that's kind of interesting. And I cannot remember if they start the spew, the S-P-E-W, in the fourth book or the fifth one, where Hermione is like tired of the house slave stuff. I'm pretty sure it's the fourth one, because Winky is in there in the kitchens with Dobby, and she's like crying, and like Hermione's like, oh my god, like, don't worry, we're gonna do this, and Dobby's like, no, don't worry about it, we house elves love to work. You know, this is like what we were made for, whatever. They're fine with it. But Hermione thinks it's like slave labor, right? It's whatever. Which she's not wrong. It is. It's slave labor. But yeah, Winky's in there. What else? What else about the book do I like? Just like I said, the whole concept of the Triwizard Tournament's awesome. Where they not fight, but they do these tasks. They have to do it pretty well, like in a certain amount of time, so they can have higher points and basically be in more of the lead. By the third task, which is where, you know, obviously Harry and Cedric, get out of here, fly, are like tied for first, so they get to go at the same time. It's great. And the thing about the freaking prize is, like, they don't even say it in the movie at all, but like, it's stupid. The prize isn't just the cup, bro. You get a ton of money if you win as well. And oop, my headset died. All right, sorry. Not that we need it, but you know, Harry wins a lot of money, and at the end, when he gets that money, because obviously he won, he gives it to Fred and George so they can open up their joke shop, which also came out of nowhere in the sixth movie. Like, people didn't even know. Like if you didn't read the books, you'd be like, how the hell did they get a joke shop? Because the Weasleys are freaking poor. How the hell did they pull that off? Well, I'll tell you how. Harry gave them a ton of money from the Triwizard freaking winnings, and they opened up a joke shop. That's how. But nobody would know that if they didn't read the book. They'd just be like, oh, okay, it's just here. Either way, it's great. Great book. I love the fact that Dobby gives Harry the gillyweed too, and not Neville. Like, Neville, it makes sense in the movies to give Harry the gillyweed because he's a big herbology guy, and he's in the movies way more often than Dobby is. And since they didn't introduce Dobby into this movie, even though he should be in it, you know, they said, alright, well, it'd be weird to just have him come out of nowhere and just be like, here, Harry, here's some gillyweed. So it's whatever, but Dobby's the one who gives Harry the gillyweed while he's on the hospital bed. Or, no, I don't think he's on the hospital bed, but I think he's passed out or something. Either way, he gives it to him, and that's how he does the second task. Yeah, it's a really good book. I like how the houses all come together. And, you know, obviously the big Priori Incantatem thing and Voldemort coming back, that's huge for the franchise. I like when they go into the Pontive to go see the Barty when Barty Crouch Jr. gets caught, right, at the trial, and they go into a lot more detail there. It's great. The whole Mad-Eye Moody character coming in, it was great. With the Polyjuice Potion and everything, it was overall, I love this book. It's very, very good to me. It's my favorite one. Anyway, let's go on to the next one. Order of the Phoenix. This is S tier as well. This is probably my second favorite book, if not my third favorite. I'd say Deathly Hallows is probably tied with it. We'll go with that later, obviously, but the fifth book is surprisingly 38 chapters, and it's the biggest book of them all. You would think Deathly Hallows would be the biggest, but it is either the second or the third biggest. I think even this is bigger than that, if I can remember. But I'm pretty sure it's 38 chapters for Order of the Phoenix, which is crazy. But it's a great book. It's a great story. Let's just get Umbridge out of the way. She's 100% the most evil, vile woman you'll ever see in this entire series of books and movies, and almost everybody agrees that she is the most hated character, even over Voldemort, which is funny because Voldemort's like the big bad guy, but Umbridge is just such a vile woman that everybody hates her. Giving detention for like the stupidest things. Obviously the whole, you know, I will not tell lies thing where it got engraved into his arm with her magic quill. That was terrible. She was going to use a Cruciatus curse on Harry. They used the Veritaserum on Cho Chang to, you know, tell the truth, like what's going on with the Order of the Phoenix, how they're at the room requirement, all that stuff. You know, and she's making all these stupid rules. She's trying to kick Trelawney out of the castle, like fire her, and she's not even the freaking headmaster. Like, no, it's stupid. It's dumb. That's about all I have to say. I mean, obviously I could go on about her and why she's mean, but I digress. Let's go on to the beginning of the book, right? When Harry gets attacked by Dementors with Dudley and he saves him. Well, it turns out, like, obviously they go into way more detail, and it's not really the same as it is in the movie, where it's a lot quicker. I just like that he saved Dudley, and obviously later on Dudley becomes to like him a lot more after that. Even though at the beginning, at first he thinks that Harry did it, he didn't really know what was going on because Muggles can't see Dementors. He doesn't know what's going on. And then he gets expelled, but he goes, and Dumbledore's there to save him, basically. And I hate the freaking Minister of Magic, bro. Cornelius Fudge is a scumbag, and that's all I have to say. He's a scumbag. It's great that he ends up resigning in the 6th book, because he's just a scumbag, doesn't know what's going on. He thinks Dumbledore's after his job. It's a whole thing. I hate, like, part of me likes the whole concept of Harry's basically alone in this book, in his own head, because Dumbledore is basically telling people, like, he told Harry and Hermione, like, you can't have contact with them. Like, Harry would have made a great prefect. Okay. Harry would have made a great prefect, right? But Ron and Hermione got it, which is strange. Obviously Hermione make a great one, but Ron, he's kind of like a goof. No offense, but he's a great character in the book, so obviously the movies did him a little bit of harm, made him look even more stupid. That's a whole nother topic, excuse me. But, that's the thing that the book did that the movies didn't, is that Ron and Hermione are prefects, but in the movie they don't even talk about it. They don't care. They just leave it out. That's kind of a big deal in the book, because Harry's kind of like, what the hell? Like, what? I would have been a great prefect, He gets no contact, no letters from them, nothing, because Dumbledore thinks it's best that everybody kind of separates from Harry a little bit more, because the whole Voldemort coming back thing is going to trigger that connection with him and Harry, and he thought that distancing himself from Harry would kind of help that, but it was totally the opposite effect. And he, obviously, like, Dumbledore, as much as I love his character, he's also got a lot of flaws. He's very manipulative too, and I don't really think he's a bad person per se, but he's got some different values, different morals. And I know that he knows, obviously he made the wrong decision by separating himself from them. The whole Sirius thing, dying and everything, you can kind of see it in the movie and in the book, how they're getting a lot closer. You can already tell, like, he's going to end up getting cut off. The Groppy, I don't like that. I don't. That whole sequence in the movie and even in the book, they go into a lot more detail in the book, but it's just, it drags. Like, it's boring. It's boring. It's important to the plot, but it's boring. I don't like it. Excuse me. Sorry about my cold. Yeah. It's a good book, though. There's more. The prophecy. They go into way more detail about the prophecy, which I really liked. The movie just didn't. It kind of just glazed over. It's my favorite movie, though, actually. It's very good. Obviously, the whole main thing is the Order of the Phoenix, with Dumbledore's army. That's obviously the best part about the movie, is Harry kind of comes into his own, and he's such a great wizard at his age, and he teaches all his fellow classmates, like, how to do magic, basically. Not, like, do magic, they already know how, but more of how to do it better, how to defend themselves, and how to attack, because they're going to need it. Obviously, Voldemort's back, and they believe him, So they're gonna have to start getting ready. Because the teachers won't tell them, because Dolores Umbridge is under the Ministry, and they're like, hey, we don't want them doing magic because they think Dumbledore's going to raise an army to take over the Ministry, which is insanity. But I digress. Overall, there's a lot more in the book. It's been 5 years since I've read these books, and the bigger ones are even harder to remember because there's just so much that's different. I'm pretty sure Spew starts. Yeah, in the fourth one, yeah. And that's the other thing about Goblet Fire. There's actually Quidditch in the book. They actually do Quidditch, which is great. Anyway, overall, very good book. One of my favorites. Here we go. My least favorite movie and book. Well, technically, this is my least favorite, but that's not a book. That's fanfic. Half-Blood Prince. It's a book. It's a book. Let's just start off, like, it's not terrible, it's not D tier, or definitely not F tier, but it's not my favorite. It's not good. I'll tell you about the things I like. I like Slughorn, although he's kind of a dweeb a little bit, but he's still a good character, and he's got a good heart, and he's actually a very good potions teacher. Probably better than Snape, I would say. I personally think he is. Snape's not a bad teacher, but he's just kind of a douchebag. The whole reveal of Half-Blood Prince, like Snape is the Half-Blood Prince, is crazy. It's great, and we all think, first reading it, like, oh my god, Snape's the bad guy. At the end when he kills Dumbledore, and it turns out he's Half-Blood Prince, and he's got all these different spells he's created, and he's got his way of making potions. And then the whole concept of the unbreakable vow it's great. It adds to me like a whole other thing of magic in there that I never knew about. It was very cool that you could literally do that, and if you didn't do it, you just die, which is very interesting. Like, imagine if people did that today, like if that was a thing that would happen in real life. Like, imagine, like, yeah, I swear, I'll pick you up at 8, or whatever, and then, oh my god, it's 8:01, just drop dead, you know what I mean? Like, it's crazy. I do like very much how Harry and Dumbledore, it's kind of like an opposite effect of the fifth one, where they don't really talk that much in the fifth one, because he's trying to separate himself, and so in the sixth one, Dumbledore basically makes up for that, big time, by being with Harry, like, all the time. He's giving him all these memories that Slughorn has or whatever about young Voldemort, trying to figure out the whole Horcrux crap. I like how Harry has to get that out of Slughorn, but the fact that it takes the whole book to get that information from Slughorn is a bit incredibly insane. Honestly, it's one of the most normal years at Hogwarts, if you really think about it, because literally, like, nothing goes on until the end, other than, like, the couple times that Dumbledore, like the couple times that Draco tried to kill Dumbledore with, like, cursed objects or whatever. But yeah, mostly it's a normal year. There's a lot of romance and love in it. A lot of talking, just going to class. It's a big book, but there's a lot of plot points in it too. Overall, it's a decent book, but it's not my favorite. It's kind of like Prisoner of Azkaban in a way, although I like that more. You know what? No, I'll put it at B. Okay, I don't like it, but it's not terrible. Okay, it's got a lot of good stuff in it too. I just wish, like, the whole Dumbledore dying is not very good. It's not good at all. But it has to be done for the plot. And I'm trying to think, like, what else in that book? What else is in this book that I really enjoyed? Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not a terrible book. Going back and thinking, like, I can't remember. I got to read these books again. I'm going to soon enough. Read, like, for fourth time, the third or fourth time. I haven't read them in 5 years though, because I reread them before Cursed Child came out, because I was like, all right, let's do this. And then I read Cursed Child, and I'm like, What? Anyway, it's not a bad book. I'm going to move on from it because I can't really think about it. Deathly Hallows, S tier, and I would probably, I'm going to put it at third. Part of me wants to put it over this just because of the climax, but I'm going to put it right here. The whole Deathly Hallow thing is great. The invisibility cloak, the Elder Wand, and the Resurrection Stone. There's a lot I could talk about in this book. That whole concept is great. How Dumbledore is basically, he was the Master of Death at one point because he did have the stone and he did have the wand, and technically he did have the cloak at one point, but he ended up giving it to Harry at Christmas. That was great. Harry ends up becoming the Master of Death at one point as well, because he technically owned the Elder Wand even though he didn't get to use it until like the end. He has the invisibility cloak. He actually uses it a lot in this book, like a ton. And then of course he uses the stone at the end, like towards the end, to see his family, talk to them for a minute before he dies. I really like this one moment in the book where Harry's kind of going around the castle when he comes back, and he's in an invisibility cloak, but he sees the Caro twins. That's another thing. They're actually in this book a lot more. They're the new teachers for Defense Against the Dark Arts, and they're freaking evil, and they're making people do Cruciatus curses on people and stuff like that. Neville refuses, all that stuff. It's great. But they basically are disrespecting McGonagall, and Harry hates it, right? McGonagall's one of his favorite teachers. She's like a mother figure to him, basically. And so he kind of goes off on him, and then when he saves her, she's crying. I'm pretty sure, if I can remember correctly, she was crying, and she was just so happy to see him. And he's like, "Don't worry, I got you. Nobody disrespect McGonagall. Don't ever do it again." One of the best parts about this book is how Voldemort dies a normal death. It's crazy how in the freaking movie they make him just burn to ash and just die. Or in the book, after Nagini's head is cut off, the final Horcrux has been cut off, Voldemort turns into a man, like a human, not like a snake-like form, and he just drops dead. The whole monologue, the whole speech that Harry gives at the end too, it's kind of awkward when you think about it. They're just in the Great Hall and everybody's kind of watching, but also fighting at the same time. And Harry's just talking to Voldemort as he explains how it was done, how he got all the Horcruxes, all this crap. It's a little strange. It's a little weird. But it makes sense. It's fine. It's not that bad. I like the beginning. Obviously, part one of the movie is the beginning of the book. It's kind of boring because there's not a whole lot going on other than they're trying to figure out what's going on. But once they start rolling and they start killing Horcrux after Horcrux, because they figured it out, that's when it gets good. The whole concept of the book of killing the Horcruxes, hunting them down, is great. I like that the very beginning book, right? The friendship of Ron, Harry, and Hermione. It's just Deathly Hallows. Those guys have been together for so long, and they're with each other in the book, and they just trust each other so much. It's great. I love their friendship. I like that it kind of had turmoil because of the Horcrux, and Ron left, but then he came back. That's good. I like that the whole Snape thing. Turns out he's a good guy. There's just a lot I could say about Snape. I'm just going to keep it short and simple because this video is already going to be 40 minutes. But overall, Snape, he's not a bad character, but he's kind of a sleazeball. To me, I think he's still a creep to love Lily like that for so long, even after she got married. It's kind of weird. Move on. And he also, did he really love her? He treated her like crap once she started to hang out with James more. And he called her Mudblood, I'm pretty sure, in the books. It's said in the memories, he called her Mudblood. I'm like, what? And we're supposed to think, oh my god, Snape's a sweetheart. No. And on top of that, if you really love Lily, why the hell does he have to treat Harry like crap? That was not necessary to play the part of Death Eater / teacher at Hogwarts. Like, he didn't need to treat Harry like crap, okay? And that goes for, like, a lot of students, not just Harry. He's just a mean dude. I like the whole, like, yeah, he was actually a good guy at the end, and he was doing it, but it's just, I don't know. I feel like he's still a creep, and it's kind of stupid. Like, he would do it for Lily. Oh my god. Really? Okay. Why'd you treat Harry like you did? You freaking scumbag. Anyway, I don't know. It's not that bad. I like it. I like it enough. I like how Harry uses the Elder Wand to fix his own wand and then buries it with Dumbledore. That's cool. Now, it is dangerous. Part of me likes the choice of breaking it in the movie. I would have rather seen him fix his wand first and then break it, I guess. Instead of just having his wand, oh yeah, it's repaired, you know. But it's smart to break the wand, because that's the most powerful one in the world. We don't want people, you know, trying to find it or trying to kill Harry because he's the owner. Yeah, it's good though. It is good. I like it. I like how Harry sneaks off after learning about Snape's memories. Like, he doesn't go to anybody. He goes straight to the forest, sneaks out, because he knows that if he were to go find Ron and Hermione and tell him what he has to do, like, they're not going to let him go. Or if they do, they're going to go with him and die with him. I mean, that's how good their friendship is. Where in the movie, they show Harry telling them what has to be done, and they're like, they want to come with him to die because they think it's a stupid idea, like at least Hermione does. But they end up letting him go anyway. But I think in the books, personally, I think they would definitely not let him go alone. Like, it's just not in their DNA. Let's go back to the beginning of the book so we can talk about that a little bit more. I like how they are kind of like struggling to figure out what's going on. They have to stay at the Grimmauld place. They have to keep apparating into other places. They have to do the Polyjuice potion to get the locket from Umbridge, because it turns out the one they have is a fake. I don't know. I just like the whole thing of they're alone. Like, they're supposed to be at school for one more year, but the world is so different now. They have to be on their own, and they're so... Hermione's smart, Harry's a great wizard, and then Ron's not a bad wizard either, but I don't know. I like it. Their friendship is great. A lot of people die in this book. Fred dies, Remus dies, Tonks dies, Dobby dies. There's other people that die I can't think of, but it doesn't matter. Either way, it's Harry dies. Yahoo! And then the whole 19 years later thing, it's excellent, and it was poorly done in the Cursed Child, but it's really good. Brings a tear to the eye, and overall, very solid book. Very solid ending. Obviously, I prefer the books over the movies, like almost everybody would, because the books go into way more detail and they're a lot more exciting because there's just a lot more in it. But the movies, they do a good job somewhat, and I do love the movies very much. I've seen them way more than I can count. Overall, I love this series. This franchise is excellent. I mean, you can see that Hogwarts banner. I have 5 wands in my closet. I have all the books. It's great franchise, and yeah, and that's it. I wish I had read these recently so I can go even more detail of why I like these books over the others or whatever, but I haven't read them in 5 years, and even though I've read them 2 or 3 times, it's still, I don't remember all of it. I feel like whatever I did remember was still good enough. But yeah, that's about it. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more content. I'm going to start actually making more YouTube videos now. I had stopped because I just don't really like editing videos. I feel like I'd rather stream and just go live and have a good time. But I know that making videos is really a good way to grow not only my YouTube channel but also my Twitch channel. So either way, that is it for me. I will see you guys in the next one. The king is out, baby. Peace.